Designated as a cataclysm-grade anomaly, the Higanbana girl. Officially labeled for erasure by the Department of Special Affairs. River City, Master of the Department of Special Affairs Kong Ping, upon learning that the Higanbana girl had gained consciousness. He is attempting to use the world's megaphone to discern the will of the gods. Then please tell me, if the god were to devour the Higanbana girl, what changes would occur? The answer received was that the god's power would grow even stronger. Kong Ping knew that his own authority was insufficient and could only contact the highest think tank. The think tank, as the highest command center of the Department of Special Affairs, must review and decide on every matter, no matter how trivial. Field from the think tank spoke up. I oppose the plan to consume the Higanbana girl. If we allow the deity to continue growing, it will soon become a problem beyond our control. The Department of Special Affairs will be forced into a passive position. Since the Higanbana girl has developed self-awareness, why not try talking to her instead? Field, you're thinking too simplistically. Even if we negotiate with the Higanbana girl, can we really guarantee that no one will die? Everyone present is well aware of the Higanbana girl's killing rules. Higanbana girl forms contracts with individuals harboring deep resentment. To complete the contract, the contracted person must break the token. But what if these are just surface-level rules? Since she has gained consciousness, could it be that she herself is the one who controls the rules? The Department of Special Affairs has no means to restrain her. There is simply no foundation for peaceful coexistence. The Department of Special Affairs would never allow a thinking anomaly to exist. If even a god cannot kill Higanbana girl, then perhaps we can consider your viewpoint, but only then. Moto Shinji and Ai-chan stared blankly at the notebook. What is a god? Could it be another anomaly? Since we can't figure it out, we might as well let it be. Since we're here, we might as well make ourselves at home. On the other side, the entrance of the Ghost Club was crowded with students, each one eager to meet the Higanbana girl to fulfill their 20-year-long dream of seeing a ghost as a single person. It must have been because of Magic Boy's live stream featuring the Higanbana girl last night. Those who haven't seen the Higanbana girl are naturally itching with curiosity and flocking to the Ghost Club, since the forum posts about the Higanbana girl originated from here. Anyone who learns of the existence of the supernatural can't help but feel intrigued, right? Moto Shinji and the two club members had no choice but to flee wildly to escape the blockade. The few of them finally managed to escape. When has our Ghost Club ever been this lively? They couldn't help but burst into laughter, listening to those clumsy pickup lines downstairs. The three of them were also speechless. Suddenly, a figure appeared from the staircase. Hi, I'm Hui. Can I join the Ghost Club? Li Zhongxing exclaimed excitedly. Aren't you the campus belle? The two quickly gathered around, their faces full of flattery. The Ghost Club is in need of a beauty like you. Welcome to join us. But I haven't filled out the application form yet. Is that okay? Oh, dear classmate Hui. It's so nice to meet you. You're now officially a member of the Ghost Club. Please be sure to become part of our family. How about adding each other on Instagram first so we can get to know each other better? Hey, I'm saying, do you all really have to be so? Acting like a simp only leads to having nothing in the end. At this very moment, the necklace in my embrace suddenly grows scorching hot. Could it be that this young girl has some issue? What message did her phone receive? Why is there black mist from anomalies appearing? Classmate Hui, may I ask who you were just chatting with? Oh, you're asking about that. This is a recently popular WeChat group called It's Your Turn. Here you can create a group face-to-face or join by keyword. Just type doghead in the comment section to enter the group and chat. Would you like to join too? Everyone enjoys sharing their stories here. It's quite interesting. After all, it's a good way to express emotions. Anomalies that feed on others' emotions? Interesting. I wonder how they compare to my Ai-chan, who is stronger and who is weaker. After returning home, watching Little Eyes Moto Shinji singing and dancing, I also leisurely flipped through the notebook. When I saw the warning in the book to stay away from the Department of Special Affairs, he couldn't help but feel surprised. Stay away from the Department of Special Affairs, don't get curious. Was this a well-intentioned reminder or? The phone vibrated at that moment. It turned out that Hui, who had just joined the company today, sent a message inviting the three of them to join a group chat. Moto Shinji, who was lost in thought, was completely unaware of Little Eyes sneaking up behind him. With a fierce roar, it pounced onto his back. It covered Moto Shinji's eyes with its tentacles. Little Eyes, what are you doing? Are you planning to surprise me? The rest of Little Eyes turned into fluid, recondensed into a body, and began crawling forward. Its tiny body seemed to be a few centimeters short of reaching the coffee table, leaving it panting heavily with exhaustion. The little hand struggled to reach the edge of the table. Finally, with every ounce of strength exhausted, it managed to climb up. It turned its head excitedly and barked at Moto Shinji. Watching Little Eyes return to its original form, Moto Shinji was utterly baffled. It's so ugly, maybe I should just throw it away. But as the red light faded away, before their eyes, Little Eyes had undergone a complete transformation. It was now unbelievably adorable, no doubt about it. Such a cute and smooth little bottom. Who wouldn't want to give it a hug? So it immediately lifted it high up into the air. Little Eyes, you've actually evolved. Here it comes, the anomalies everyone has been longing for are here. Outside an abandoned factory building in the suburbs of River City, Moto Shinji and his 2 crew members entered inside. What kind of place is this? It's surrounded by either unmarked graves or old cemeteries. We're just here to play a game. Was it really necessary to come all the way out to such a remote spot? My legs are killing me after walking 3 kilometers. Oh Shinji, stop complaining. This is our club's first team building event. And what's more, we've got some beauties accompanying us. At that moment, Omen of the Bust came into view. Sorry I'm late. The 2 turned around in pleasant surprise. Has the goddess arrived? Hello you 2. My name is Straight Bang. Nice to meet you. The 2 of them froze in awkward silence, instantly feeling like the flowers in their hands had lost their vibrancy. Their minds raced with frantic internal complaints. Damn it. Our first date is ruined just like that. Even in this remote and desolate place, the classic melody still echoed in their ears. Snowflakes drift gently, the north wind whistles cold. The 2 single souls are back online again. Moto Shinji is a bit suspicious. Something feels off about all this. He couldn't help but ask, I mean you too, if it's a game where we can take turns venting negative energy in the group chat, why did we have to meet here specifically? Xian Hui quickly explained. It's your turn has a more advanced way of playing. I feel like meeting here would be more suitable for our ghost club. Oh, since Shinji is already here, I also think playing here would be more exciting. Don't let yourselves be dazzled by beauty, you 2. This is no good place. Don't forget the Higanbana girl is real, and this might also be a spot where eerie things happen. Personally, I suggest we don't play. Li Zhongxing then said indignantly. Since we're already here, backing out now would be a slap in the face for our ghost club, wouldn't it? Xian Hui, clutching the hem of her skirt, spoke softly. It's okay if we don't play. So many people are playing, it makes me feel like I'm going to harm someone. She couldn't help but lower her head in disappointment. Straight Bang then stepped in to mediate. Exploring new ways to play here feels pretty good too. Everyone. Maybe give it another thought. Xiao Peng said indignantly. I'm definitely going to participate anyway. Otherwise, I won't be able to vent this frustration from my heartbreak. Hey Moto Shinji, you're not scared, are you? And you call yourself the president of the Ghost Club? Moto Shinji could only sigh. Alright, I'll go along with you guys, okay? But deep down he was grumbling. If I weren't here. Now the few people present are probably in grave danger. I hope this choice is the right one. So the group headed toward the abandoned building. Footsteps echoed through the building. Xian Hui changed from a dejected state. Let me explain the game rules to everyone. This game is called, It's Your Turn. There are 5 of us. Each person guards a different floor. The game starts on the first floor. The first floor guard goes to the second floor, finds the second floor guard, tells them their supernatural story, and then returns to their original floor to wait for the guard from the upper floor to find them and share their story. This forms a recurring cycle where everyone becomes both a listener and a storyteller. But in that case, who does the 5th floor keeper tell the story to? We don't have a 6th person. Xian Hui continued to explain. The 5th floor keeper just needs to go downstairs and find the 1st floor keeper. If there are no issues, let's begin. We'll draw lots to decide the floors. Xiao Peng drew the number 1 lot. At this moment, he is quietly heading to the 2nd floor with his phone. He saw Li Zhongxing trembling with his back to the stairs from a distance. Xiao Peng suddenly slapped him on the shoulder, startling him. You're not scared, are you? What a grown man. And this is all the courage you have. He turned around and saw it was Xiao Peng, letting out a sigh of relief. Oh, it's you. You scared me to death. Alright, I'll start telling the story now. Tom has 2 older brothers. They eat and sleep together. One day the eldest brother drowned, but that same night, the second brother also died. Do you know why? Because Tom likes to sleep squeezed in the middle, so that night he cut his second brother in half, left half and right half so he could sleep in the middle again. Ha ha ha, you haven't even heard of the sea turtle soup game? Hurry up and go learn about it. Go ahead, straight bang is waiting for you, and it's on the 5th floor. Moto Shinji sits alone on the empty floor. His phone also died after prolonged navigation use. Upon seeing Xian Hui's figure appear, he said, "My phone is out of battery. Can you turn on your flashlight?" "Alright then, I'm number 4 Xian Hui. Are you ready to listen to my story? What's going on?" It feels like her entire demeanor has changed, yet I can't quite pinpoint the difference. So he stood up and said, "Begin your performance." One rainy night, a girl and 4 boys were rushing through the rain. But when they finally reached their destination, all 4 boys were completely drenched, while the girl hadn't gotten wet at all. Do you know why? After a moment of thoughtful silence, Moto Shinji. He spoke coldly. Because that girl is dead, and the other 4 are pallbearers. The girl is lying in the coffin, so how could she get wet from the rain? Xian Hui clapped and said, "As expected of number 5, you actually guessed it right. So, have you come up with your story? The 1st floor keeper is waiting for you downstairs. Of course I've thought of one. Aren't you coming down with me?" Xian Hui kept shaking her head and said, "I still have to go back to the 4th floor. I won't break the rules. Those who break the rules are bound to be consumed by them. Things are getting stranger and stranger. Let's go down first and see what's going on. Why is there no one around as we walk down? Could it be that they all went out because they were scared?" It wasn't until Moto Shinji exited the building that he finally saw everyone. He couldn't help but feel a bit angry. Wasn't the game rule to wait on the initial floor? Why had everyone come out? And didn't you just tell me to go back to the 4th floor? Upon hearing this, everyone felt a chill down their spine. What's going on? Xian Hui never went to the 5th floor. Everyone ran out because they were scared. Then who was I talking to? Suddenly, an eerie feeling enveloped me. I once personally created anomalies to punish evil. But now I too have been drawn into this conflict. Originally, I was always successful in dealing with anomalies. Yet I find myself caught in a dilemma within a game. But in order to protect the lives of the 5 people present, I had no choice but to conceal the truth and try to evade the attack of unknown anomalies. How about it? Did that send chills down your spine? My acting wasn't bad, right? Did I manage to fool you just now? Xiao Peng said angrily. Moto Shinji, are you out of your mind? You almost scared that little girl to death. I told you, Xian Hui never went to the 5th floor. Li Zhongxing also looked furious and said, "You brat. Looks like it's time for you to experience the ultimate secret technique, the 1,000 years of death. Why is everyone so worked up? We came here to play games, didn't we? Isn't this what makes it exciting?" So he leaned closer to Xian Hui and continued, "If you want to play, just come find me. I'll teach you what true eeriness really means." Xian Hui, however, was frightened by Moto Shinji's action and stepped back repeatedly, her face flushing with embarrassment. Moto Shinji felt puzzled, as her reaction didn't seem feigned. Could it really not be her who was telling the story with me on the 5th floor? But if it wasn't her, then who could it be? Could there really be unknown anomalies here? It might be better to leave sooner rather than later. So he turned around and said, "Since you've broken the rules of the game on your own initiative, let's just end it here. If any of you are afraid, you're welcome to take refuge in my ghost club. After all, in the movies, the main characters who act recklessly always end up getting into trouble one by one. I don't mind if you all come to me for support and comfort to forget your fears." Xian Hui looked reluctant, linked arms with straight bang and said, "No need. I'm feeling a bit unwell, so I think I'll head home and rest for now." "Bangs, you'll take me home, right?" "Of course, I'm such a thoughtful and considerate young man." Such a heartwarming scene. Once again, the hearts of single doggos are shattered into pieces. The end of the eerie game also made everyone think about leaving. Just as they turned to leave the building, Moto Shinji's heart was still filled with doubts, completely unaware of the conversation between the 2 people beside him. What exactly is amiss? Xian Hui isn't lying. Then who exactly is the person who looks exactly like Xian Hui? But suddenly, an aura of anomalies from behind struck straight at the heart. Moto Shinji turned around sharply. Who's there? Xian Hui or straight bang? I need to go back and check. The 2 people behind said urgently. Shinji, where are you going? There are only 3 of us here. Who are Xian Hui and straight bang? The necklace with the notebook bound to Moto Shinji's chest also began to glow with a red light at this moment. A sense of rejection filled the memories in his mind. So, who exactly are Xian Hui and straight bang? Why are the memories starting to blur? He quickly dashed toward the abandoned building. Inside, the silence remained eerily unsettling. He felt the necklace radiating intense heat, and Moto Shinji's heart tightened again. Just to be safe, He summoned Ai-chan first, otherwise he might be at a disadvantage. However, this attempt produced no response whatsoever. The surroundings remained utterly silent, as if an invisible force was blocking the connection between the notebook and the Higanbana girl. Oh no, if Ai-chan can't be summoned, things are going to get tricky. So he hurriedly flipped through his notebook, unaware that behind him, a faint ghostly figure was slowly approaching. Blood-red footprints stepped forward one after another, and the sound of bare feet treading grew increasingly clear. Hearing the footsteps, Moto Shinji froze abruptly. He quickly turned around to look behind him, but there was no trace of anything. A sense of tension arose. Don't joke around. Without Ai-chan by my side, I'm totally panicking. He couldn't help but swallow nervously. The building remained eerily silent. With his phone dead, he didn't even have a flashlight, and he couldn't summon Higanbana girl. All he could do was quietly put away his notebook. But at that moment, a sinister and terrifying sound suddenly exploded in his ears. I really want to die. Are you here to accompany me? A distorted black ghostly figure was staring at Moto Shinji with blood-red eyes. The next moment, a piercing scream exceeding 5,000 hertz echoed in his mind, causing excruciating pain as if his head were about to explode. What on earth is this thing? Unable to endure any longer, he clutched his head and dropped to his knees. Under the assault of excruciating pain, it felt as though his soul were being crushed. Memories related to the 5-person game in his mind were continuously shattering and fading away, as if they never should have existed. One by one, familiar figures grew increasingly blurred as the fragments of memory slipped away. After a long while, Moto Shinji's gaze became utterly vacant. He kept murmuring incessantly, "Why am I here? What is going on?" After the Higanbana girl was labeled as Cataclysm grade, the River City Department of Special Affairs no longer had any means to restrain her abilities. In order to reduce the mortality rate, they could only choose to resolve another legend of anomalies. That is, little eyes in the cracks. But what they don't know is that little eyes were also anomalies created by Moto Shinji, and they are gradually gaining consciousness. Akiji tossed the photo in his hand to Red Melody. Following orders from above, the Higanbana girl case is on hold. Next, we need to deal with the anomalies that caused the domestic abuser's death. Red Melody took the photo. Big Sister Akiji, how does the higher-up plan to resolve the Higanbana girl situation? Facing an anomaly of Higanbana girl's level, if it truly comes down to it, perhaps the higher-ups will have no choice but to resort to that method. And the method they're referring to is the god, exposed by the world megaphone. These are not matters we should worry about. The higher-ups think tank will handle it, and they have already begun to stop Higanbana girl. Utilizing the internet to flood screens and gradually erode the presence of Higanbana girl, and hell correspondence. It is believed that under the bombardment of the information age, the popularity of Higanbana girl will gradually decline until no one pays attention to her anymore. However, once someone dies, it always attracts attention. Relying on some gossip news to suppress the growth of Higanbana girl is impossible. The world is selfish. Under the rules of anomalies, everyone is in danger, but as long as tragedy doesn't happen to those around them, who would care if one less person is here today? Let's go catch the person spreading those eye photos. Seal away the images, and the anomaly's eyes won't be able to cause any more trouble. And when Red Melody lowered her head and took a glance at that photo, goosebumps erupted all over her body. What kind of twisted taste is this? Who would like bloody eyeballs? They look absolutely disgusting. Meanwhile, in a standalone residential building in the suburbs of River City, a man was tied to a chair by Akiji and Red Melody. Akiji, crossing his legs, asked, "Did you take these photos?" Red Melody removed the foul-smelling sock that was rolled up in the man's mouth. The man, named Tianji, an intern at a theater, looked at the two in terror and said, "I didn't kill anyone. I just took a couple of photos, that's all. Behave yourself. Answer whatever I ask and nothing more. Now tell me exactly what led up to you taking those photos. If I hear even a hint of a lie, you can say goodbye to your parts." As she finished, she pointed to the man's lower region. The man was utterly terrified, thinking, "How is this person even more twisted than I am?" He quickly stammered, I'll talk. It all started with one of my bedmates. Oh no, a friend. Her name is Xiaomei. One time I went to her house as a guest. We had a great conversation, but that's not important. Just as I was about to go to the bathroom, I heard a rustling sound coming from the closet. Driven by curiosity, I really wanted to know what was inside, so I opened it. To my great surprise, I actually saw a deformed doll in the closet. I originally created cataclysm-grade anomalies just to survive. But I have witnessed too much injustice in this world. Now, survival is no longer my only goal. Therefore, the consciousness of AI-chan and Little Eyes emerged, hoping to fill some of the justice that this world lacks. Yet, they were still marked for elimination by the Department of Special Affairs. However, they were unaware that even if AI-chan were to be destroyed, I could still recreate her through the notebook. Yet, by a twist of fate, I found myself entangled in another series of anomalies. Anomalies are referred to as, "It's your turn." The constant loss of memories makes me realize that I might be dying soon. Since I created the anomalies to send bad people to hell, there's no reason why other anomalies couldn't kill me. But what I didn't expect was that the comic came to an abrupt halt right here, forcing me to praise the author for such a masterful cliffhanger. However, to respect the originality of the comic and the novel, I cannot spoil the plot for everyone just yet. Please understand. This YouTuber is grateful for the support of every single one of you. Your encouragement is my motivation to keep moving forward. The comic will be updated every Thursday on time. Friends who can't wait can also check out the novel in advance. Let's look forward to the comic updates together. Feel free to speak your mind and share your own spooky stories. I believe no one can resist the charm of supernatural tales, right? So are you ready? It's your turn. I have created mysterious anomalies with the power of life and death. Yet I was still invaded by unfamiliar anomalies. Fragments of my memories were crushed, leaving me like a walking corpse, wandering through this abandoned building. The world began to pour with torrential rain, as if heralding the arrival of death. Moto Shinji, hunched over, kept climbing the stairs. Bloody footprints trailed behind him, yet he remained completely unaware, his stiff body moving slowly, his mouth slightly agape. "I want to die so badly," he murmured. His entire eye sockets were eroded by tangled threads, writhing and intertwining irregularly, like a chaotic mess of black yarn. At that moment, the necklace in his hand glowed with a red light. It was the medium through which Moto Shinji connected with the notebook. In the next moment, his gaze became clear again, the whites of his eyes returned, and his crimson pupils shone with brilliance. It was as if he had realized something. He turned around abruptly. He swung his left fist. He punched the eerie figure behind him. Then he strode quickly downstairs. He had to get out of there immediately or he would surely die. As he ran, he called out the names of Higanbana Girl and Little Eyes, trying to summon them, but the necklace showed no response at all. But as he ran, his body froze again on the stairs. Immediately after, a rustling sound approached. It seemed the anomalies that had just been knocked away were now crawling toward him bit by bit. Moto Shinji could clearly sense something staring at him from behind, yet his body remained completely paralyzed. Just then, his previously dead phone suddenly lit up. A shadowy mass appeared on the screen, and an eerie voice echoed, "My dear classmate number 5, where do you think you're going? What exactly are you? Why am I here? Have you forgotten me so quickly, you heartless thing? I'm Xian Hui number 4. I even told you stories before." Then Xian Hui's figure emerged, suddenly transforming into a dark shadow, letting out a sinister chuckle. "Hurry up and meet on the 5th floor. It's your turn." As soon as the words were spoken, the sign for the 3rd floor tore and changed to the 5th floor. In a daze, Moto Shinji wore a stunned expression. It turned out the surroundings had changed. Countless coffins lay before him, with 4 people lying inside, utterly serene. "They were all waiting for you. Quickly become one of them." As soon as the words fell, the people in the coffins opened their eyes, which were like tangled threads. It was Xiao Pang. Startled from near death in the coffin, he sat up abruptly, only to realize the clown was himself. 3 figures sat up from the coffins. What was wrong with them? Could they all be dead? Then, an eerie scene unfolded. Their necks twisted in a bizarre manner, suddenly rotating 180 degrees, and together they turned their gaze toward Moto Shinji's direction. "Li Zhongxing, Xiaopang, straight bang. What's wrong with all of you? Wake up quickly." The memories of their past time together made him blurt out their names. Yet the dazed sensation assaulted him once more. Strange, why do I remember their names? The memories of them have become extremely blurry, as if forcibly erased by black ink. In this state, he couldn't help but start to doubt. Hadn't he always been alone? The 3 of them formed a circle around Moto Shinji. "You are not alone. We are all good friends. Come join us." Moto Shinji's grip on the necklace slowly loosened until he finally let go. His body became enveloped by thin black threads, and as they intertwined and stained each other, he lost consciousness. The necklace that fell shattered into pieces. From beginning to end, AI-chan and Little Eyes never appeared. Along with Moto Shinji's body, it was buried in the black coffin. The lid slowly closed, eventually fitting perfectly, sealing it completely. A final conclusion. Moto Shinji dead. Of course, the story doesn't end that easily. Everything has only just begun. Remember the deformed child in the wardrobe? On the other side, beneath a residential building, someone knocked on the door. Open up, open up. The door was opened by a woman in a black dress. Who is it? It's the middle of the night. Can't you let people sleep? This is just ridiculous. But as soon as she saw the man she had once been deeply in love with, handcuffed and flanked by two women, she immediately fell silent. Akiji spoke up. You are Xiaomei, right? We are from the Department of Special Investigations. We need to ask you a few questions. The woman was stunned on the spot, her attitude taking a complete turn. She quickly invited the three inside. Officers, what brings you here so late? I've already turned over a new leaf. It's been a long time since I last took any jobs. Without even turning his head, Akiji replied. We're not here about your work for now. We're investigating your son. Xiaomei gave an awkward smile. Officer, you must be joking. Although I live a free-spirited and unrestrained life, I don't have a son. Do you still recognize the child in this photo? The woman took a closer look and her heart instantly sank. She couldn't help but whisper weakly, he passed away just 2 months ago. It was you who killed him with your own hands, wasn't it? I'm innocent, officer. How could I possibly kill my own child with my own hands? He was already dead when I got home. It wasn't intentional. I had guests coming over, and I couldn't let them be frightened. I didn't mean for this to happen. I have to survive too, you know. So where is the body buried? The scene shifts to the outskirts of River City. When the body was unearthed, it was already severely decomposed and mostly skeletonized. Such a young child was buried in this desolate wilderness. Does she still have any humanity? Red Melody asked in confusion. Sister Akiji, do you think that woman is truly repentant? After all, she said herself that she wanted to raise this child. Repentant? How could that be? Do you expect a woman of the night to change her ways? In her eyes, there's only money. The child definitely did not die a natural death. In that photo, the child's body was covered in bruises. Clearly, she ended the child's life with her own hands. But she will reap what she has sown. After all, I showed her the photo of the eyeball. I imagine she won't have an easy time in the days to come. A woman's scream came from the car. Help me. There are so many eyeballs. Akiji turned back and said to the police, let me remind you, this woman is probably trying to use insanity to get a suspended sentence. Don't let her succeed. Big Sister Akiji is still one step ahead. This child suffered long-term abuse, which is why they turned into anomalies to punish domestic abusers in this world. Akiji sighed helplessly. Let's go back and properly bury the child's remains. I just hope there will be less violence and more beauty in this world. It is often said that good and evil will eventually be repaid, and the way of heaven revolves in cycles. And as for me, who used anomalies to kill people, I truly tasted the flavor of death, yet I came back to life. Just moments ago, a twin-tailed girl stood in the rain, staring at the abandoned building before her, the very place where Moto Shinji and the others vanished. I saw her continuously writing something with a pen. She kept murmuring incessantly under her breath. After a while, she pulled out a glowing coin. She flicked it with force. The coin spun to its highest point, revealing a spider pattern. Moto Shinji jolted awake, a wave of intense nausea washing over his entire body. He quickly covered his mouth and nose, sitting up abruptly. This isn't my home. How did I end up here? He hurried into the bathroom, turning on the faucet while gasping for air. But upon seeing the sharply chiseled face in the mirror, he couldn't help but feel puzzled. Strange. Didn't I die? No, I'm certain I died, right inside a building. I was wandering alone in that building, but this memory seems to have a large chunk missing. There's a logical inconsistency here. Although Little Eyes and AI-chan were created by me, they wouldn't protect me. Just to be safe, I'd better check what happened in the notebook. But the moment he opened the notebook, he froze. I remember clearly, the remaining lifespan should have been 96. But upon flipping through the subsequent pages, I realized it was indeed the notes that saved me. It should be said that the notes brought me back to life. Fortunately, the notes are powerful enough. They decide exactly how many days until death, and no one can interfere. Since that's the case, this matter isn't over. That anomalies must pay the price. In the past, I kept extending my lifespan just hoping to live well. But now it's different. In this world full of anomalies, living like this is just ridiculous. He must enhance his strength and become stronger than everyone else. Since I have become the overseer of this world, tasked with punishing all anomalies, Then I must deal with those disobedient anomalies. In the blink of an eye, the next day has arrived. At this moment, the ghost club appeared unusually empty and silent. Moto Shinji held his dazed head, feeling somewhat troubled. What exactly had he forgotten? Why couldn't he remember anything at all? The environment of the ghost club clearly suggested that he wasn't the only one here, yet he hadn't found any trace of other members at school. At that very moment, a sound came from the storage locker in the ghost club. A figure, panting heavily, pushed open the locker door, revealing an unfamiliar presence before Moto Shinji. It was the twin-tailed girl who had been standing in the rain. "Hello, senior. My name is White. May I join the ghost club?" Moto Shinji was utterly astonished. This girl actually possessed spiritual power as well. However, he still spoke up. "This ghost club only has me, and it's about to disband soon. There's no use in you joining. And how long have you been hiding here?" White, clutching the diary, timidly replied. "Let me explain." The girl pushed the diary forward. "Moto Shinji, you are not alone. After you and the other ghost club members went to that abandoned building, they disappeared. You can read my diary." Moto Shinji opened her diary. Sure enough, it mentioned activities involving Moto Shinji and other members, yet she had completely forgotten about them. Moto Shinji's pupils gradually dilated. The blurred figure in memory gradually became clear. Everything came back to me, all the memories about the other members resurfaced. Xia Binbin, Li Zhongxing, Xian Hui and her childhood sweetheart Straight Bang. These were people who had a real connection with me, yet now they have vanished without a trace. Could it be that they have already... Moto Shinji still wanted to continue flipping through the pages. But White snatched it away and said shyly, "You can't read the rest. That's my privacy. I'm sorry, there are some things in the diary that I can't reveal. But I promise I have no ill intentions, and I genuinely want to join the ghost club." Moto Shinji wasn't sure whether he could trust her words. But he still picked up the application form on the table. He handed it to the girl. "Take it and fill it out. By the way, I'm giving you a task. Recruit more members for the ghost club. Otherwise this club might disband." White happily took the registration form. At the same time, she bowed at a perfect 90-degree angle. "Thank you, President. This girl must have some serious issues, right? Then, President, I'll go handle the new recruitment. See you tomorrow." So she hopped and skipped her way out of the club. Moto Shinji was somewhat puzzled. The girl seemed to still be at the first stage of spiritual power, right in the awakening period. However, regardless of her purpose, the most important thing right now is to focus on improving my own strength. Actually, White's purpose is quite simple. She has been following Moto Shinji all along because of her own prophetic ability. Her prophecy told her that the safest place in this world is the ghost club at this school. To be precise, it's staying by Moto Shinji's side. If possible, she even wants to become Moto Shinji's wife. What? Is that even a thing? Moto Shinji has successfully advanced to the third tier of spiritual power. Not to mention a significant enhancement of the soul. He also gained the ability to move objects through telekinesis. Although the effective range is only 10 meters, it's better than nothing. Most importantly, now he can actually harness the power of the anomalies created by the notebook, consuming the collected legend points in the process. In that case, couldn't he fabricate an urban legend about bringing someone back to life? And the only answer he got was that there weren't enough legend points. Right now, all he needs to do is figure out the rules of "It's Your Turn," so he can tailor his strategy accordingly. And the matter of reviving his friend can then be put on the agenda. But what exactly are the killing rules of those anomalies? Now that I think back on it, then the killing rules of those anomalies shouldn't be based on game numbers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone to the abandoned building because of Xian Hui. If it's not related to the order, then what are the killing rules? And what's even stranger is, everyone else was just playing the game in the group by taking turns in a chain, but only the 5 of us found the abandoned building. And it used Xian Hui to lure me into the abandoned building. Could it be that he discovered I am a spiritual power user? He just couldn't figure it out. He had no choice but to head home first to make plans. Then he saw Little Eyes running over quickly, its short legs moving so fast they were a blur. It leaped right into Moto Shinji's arms, nuzzling and rubbing against him while calling out, "Mommy." Moto Shinji carried him to the living room and sat down. Still no clue about "It's Your Turn." Could it be that we need to play the game again? I have the golden finger to be immortal, but others don't. Even if some people have the intention to seek death, this karma should not be intervened by me. And at that moment, Little Eyes in my arms snatched Moto Shinji's phone. Then he started furiously typing on the phone screen. Moto Shinji was suddenly stunned. Then he smiled faintly. Perhaps I could try having Little Eyes and AI-chan help me interact with that anomaly. That way, I wouldn't have to bear the karmic consequences for others. And so, the Higanbana girl made a splendid entrance. "What are your orders, my lord?" she asked, all while AI-chan watched in astonishment. Moto Shinji grabbed her hand and said, "Come with me to a place." But when they arrived at the location, they were horrified to find that the abandoned building that had once stood there was gone. How could this be? That building was clearly there before. Damn it, could it be that the anomalies tampered with my memory from the very beginning? There was never an abandoned building here. No, according to White's diary, the abandoned building should indeed exist. Could it be that these anomalies have altered everyone's memories? If so, their power is truly formidable. At that very moment, Ai-chan sniffed lightly with the tip of her nose. She spoke up. "Master, there is the scent of our kind here." He even took the initiative to hold Moto Shinji's hand. "We can't do this here, we have to go home." The little eyes on the shoulder also nodded in agreement. "All right, let's head home first. But do you have confidence in dealing with this kindred being?" After returning home, Moto Shinji distributed mobile phones to AI-chan and Little Eyes. "The rules of the game are just like that. The three of us will create a group online. AI-chan will create the group as number 1, Little Eyes as number 2, and each of you will post the stories I prepared for you in the group. And I won't do anything. I want to see if that person will come looking for us." As time passes by, 2 people and 2 anomalies sat idly on the sofa. Moto Shinji, watching the Higanbana girl playing a match 3 game, couldn't help but ask, "Ai-chan, my legend points haven't been increasing much lately. Is there some issue?" Ai-chan replied indifferently, "I haven't received any hell correspondence commissions recently." Faintly, she could sense a trace of unease. "Perhaps I might disappear." Just then a heavy knocking sound came from the door. Both the human and the 2 anomalies turned their gaze toward it in unison. With a click, the doorknob turned. A beam of red light seeped through the crack of the door. It had arrived. I had thought that the Higanbana girl held the power of life and death over all living beings. After all, the ability to kill anyone just by writing their name is an absolutely unstoppable power. But I never expected there would be someone even AI-chan couldn't handle. Just now, Moto Shinji took action to deal with the mysterious anomalies. "It's your turn." He originally intended to resolve everything in the abandoned building, only to discover that the building had vanished. Left with no choice, he had to re-enter the anomalies rules with the 2 anomalies. Just as the 1 human and 2 anomalies were idling away their time, a knock sounded at the door. As the doorknob turned, accompanied by the creaking of the door panel, an eerie red light gradually filled the entire room. A claw made of black threads drooped over the doorframe, and the next moment, an anomaly covered entirely in black threads peered inside. "Number 1, it's your turn." At that moment, Moto Shinji noticed AI-chan slightly lowering her head. Then she suddenly stood up and walked stiffly toward the door. In an instant, AI-chan's originally crimson pupils transformed into crimson threads, continuously intertwining and tangling to form 2 crimson thread clusters. Immediately, AI-chan's long hair flew wildly, entangling and battling with the threads extended by the anomalies. Watching this scene unfold before him, Moto Shinji recalled a sentence from the notebook in his heart. "Anomalies are unsolvable. Only anomalies can kill anomalies." When 2 anomalies begin to fight, it becomes a collision of rule-based powers. But what would be the outcome of such a clash of rules? Moto Shinji did not know. He soon found out, because he noticed that the color had drained from AI-chan's pupils, leaving only 2 hollow eye sockets. Then he saw AI-chan close her eyes and summon the soul-guiding bell in her hand. Traces of blood still remained around her eye sockets. Immediately after, a crisp ringing sound echoed through the living room. At the same moment, the soul-guiding bell shot out 2 beams of crimson light. Ai-chan's eyes regained their glow. "Master, I am slightly stronger than it, but I cannot defeat it. If I could learn its name, I could send it to hell." Moto Shinji probably also understood that it was because AI-chan was trapped within its rules, making it impossible for her to kill it. After realizing it couldn't deal with AI-chan, the anomalies then shifted their focus to the next target. And at this moment, Moto Shinji had already prepared himself to die once more. After all, Little Eyes was just something he created casually, even made for free. An eerie voice echoed once again. "Number 2, it's your turn." Little Eye's face was filled with resentment, veins bulging on his forehead. Clearly, he was enraged. Then with a leap, it jumped down from Moto Shinji's shoulder, extending its slender arm to grab at that mass of black anomalies. The small hands clenched tightly, forming 2 tiny fists, with a strand of black thread at the center of each. Then with a backward step in midair, the thread was pulled, and the mass was dragged over. A piercing scream echoed as it, in pain, immediately launched a counterattack. Strands of black threads went pia, slapping Little Eyes in the face. The scene was strikingly similar to street thugs slapping each other's faces. Look at how wronged the child feels, almost on the verge of shedding tears. Just as Moto Shinji was wondering whether to step forward and help wipe the tears away, Little Eyes completely erupted, with countless eyes appearing all around, then enveloping Little Eyes within them. In the next moment, Little Eyes instantly reverted to its first form. The size of that black tangled mass was nothing but a little brother in front of Little Eyes. Immediately after, countless tiny hands stretched out, each grabbing hold of the black threads, rendering them immobile. A comical eye opened, brimming with joy as if it had just found a delicious treat. The black mass of threads was slowly pulled toward Little Eyes' mouth, trembling violently like a sieve. Then with a chirping sound, it was swallowed down. Oh my goodness, so Little Eyes is actually this powerful, huh? I was worried earlier that this little one might get killed, but it seems that concern was a bit unnecessary. Just then, the notebook unexpectedly opened on its own. Page after page turned, and it began recording the deeds of anomalies killing people, eventually becoming the third entry about anomalies in the notebook. It recorded 180,000 legend points and 17,000 karma points, while also unlocking the abilities of a new anomaly. Moto Shinji's expression darkened. This game actually killed so many people. Regardless of good or evil, anyone who participated in the game suffered. In the past, no matter how many lives were added to the pages of AI-chan and Little Eyes, he never felt gloomy, because those who died were all wicked people. But now, with so many innocent lives lost before his eyes, he must have been somewhat moved. Fortunately, everything has settled down now, and he has successfully subdued this anomaly. From now on, it will no longer cause any trouble. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. Is anyone there? Moto Shinji put away the notebook and walked toward the door. AI-chan and Little Eyes also hid behind the sofa. He looked through the peephole. A scruffy bearded uncle stood at the door. I'm Xiaosong, I just moved in. I meant to visit during the day, but I heard a loud noise, so I came to ask what happened. Moto Shinji opened the door and said, Sorry for disturbing you so late at night. There was a cockroach in the house, and I was just getting rid of it. I see. Since we'll be neighbors from now on, here's a little local specialty. Please accept it. As he spoke, he handed over the bag. I won't disturb you further then. All right, thank you. Then Moto Shinji closed the door. He placed the specialty product on the table. Having worked all night, he was extremely tired. After calling out a greeting, he was about to go to sleep. AI-chan and Little Eyes curiously ran over to that bag of specialty products, peering and looking. Help yourselves if you want to eat, he said. The two anomalies flatly refused. No. Who would eat this stuff? We are mysterious anomalies, after all. Meanwhile, at the Department of Special Affairs, Akiji encountered another strange case. A man named Xia Chong, the director of the Public Security Bureau, had been feeling a sense of dissonance lately. In his memory, he had no children. Yet the room was filled with the presence of a child. This sense of dissonance felt incredibly real, as if his memories had been tampered with. You're saying your memories, along with the people around you, have vanished. I have captured the mysterious anomalies that alter reality. Such beings were erased, yet their traces remained. Just thinking about it sends shivers down my spine. Yet, compared to the Mandela effect, the former still leaves traces to follow. After all, one is a cognitive error while the other is complete oblivion. I originally thought that by capturing anomalies and taking your turn, I could restore my friends and bring back those who died unjustly. But once someone is dead, they're gone. There's no such thing as a second chance in this world, unless they possess a notebook similar to mine. Moto Shinji walked to school as usual. At that moment, he received a text message. It was a message from White, warning him that Clear Lake Park was dangerous. Moto Shinji was somewhat surprised. Clear Lake Park was the apartment where he lived. If there was danger, why didn't his notebook give any warning at all? Even though he had used his spiritual power to sense the apartment, he still hadn't detected any danger. And while he was deep in thought, yet he was unaware that several familiar guests had appeared before him. Just then the visitor said, You must be Moto Shinji, right? We are from the Public Security Bureau and would like to ask you a few questions. Moto Shinji was momentarily surprised. Aren't these the people from the Department of Special Affairs? What could they want with me? So he said in a deep voice, What's the matter? Red Melody slowly approached. Staring intently at Moto Shinji, she said, Do you know Xia Linlin? She used to be a member of your ghost club. Akiji also questioned, If you know him, please tell me the reason why he and several others disappeared. I can tell you what I know, but it's not something that can be explained in just a sentence or two. Let's go to my place to discuss it. However, as soon as he turned around, he was blocked by Red Melody and Qi Xiaoyin. Just say it here, no one will eavesdrop. Moto Shinji was equally stubborn. He turned his head and said to Akiji with a serious expression, "Let's talk at my place. Otherwise, you won't get any answers out of me. And by the way, help me ask for leave." Then, without looking back, he headed straight towards his home, leaving behind the cursing Red Melody, who was rubbing his fists and palms together, looking as if he was ready to fight to the death. And Akiji watched Moto Shinji's retreating figure with a serious expression, thinking that this young man had a very strong sense of self-protection. If he were just an ordinary person, we could easily resort to forceful measures. Although he is only a student, his composed and unflappable mindset is enough to draw the attention of the Department of Special Affairs. Not to mention, he is also a third-tier spiritual power user. Please come in, everyone. My home is just upstairs. Moto Shinji's idea was very simple. Once he got to his own home, he would be safe. After all, he could freely summon Little Eyes and AI-chan to protect him. On the other hand, he could also subtly probe and gather some information from the Department of Special Affairs. Then he suddenly slammed the cup down on the table. "You guys aren't from the Public Security Bureau, are you?" This statement immediately stunned all three of them. "If I'm not mistaken, you must be affiliated with the Department of Special Affairs." Upon having their identities exposed, the three of them felt as if sitting on pins and needles, staring at Moto Shinji with disbelief. But Moto Shinji just smiled. "I guessed it. After all, this world has anomalies in spiritual power. Of course, there must be special organizations for that. I never expected to actually bluff it out of him." So he burst into laughter, which made Red Melody so angry that she crushed the water glass in her hand. Moto Shinji naturally wasn't about to let him get away with it. $1,000 for a cup? Pay up, pay up. What kind of cup costs $1,000? You're trying to scam me, damn it. Seeing the situation turning unfavorable, Akiji quickly changed the subject. "The losses caused to you will be compensated later. Moreover, we are indeed from the Department of Special Investigations. Regardless of where you got the information or how much you know about us, we only tell you one thing. Anomalies cannot be killed. Our Department of Special Affairs can only contain them. Even if you possess immense spiritual power, you still cannot kill anomalies. Otherwise, you will eventually be killed by anomalies. Now please tell me, did you and your friend see an eyeball? What kind of eyeball?"